coming to you bright and early live this morning on Facebook and Instagram in my workout clothes and awesome workout hairstyle. You're welcome. But here I am once again. Today I want to share some thoughts with you about self-esteem, self-perception, self-awareness. I want to talk about labels, labeling, how you self-identify, how you label yourself, how you receive and choose to accept or reject the labels of others. Yesterday, Facebook has Facebook memories. Well, a friend of mine forwarded me a Facebook memory from a decade ago, which was the decade anniversary of the Mrs. United States pageant that I participated in Las Vegas. And that brought to my mind some ideas and memories about my year serving as Mrs. Utah. And that was a unique time of life. And it was also the first time that I started receiving public name calling. People were not always kind to me. And that was interesting. It was the first time that I was called a name, I guess, that was anything but positive in my adult life. I was written up in an article to share and promote my platform, which was promoting decency as Mrs. Utah. And somebody made a comment on that media article that I was a self-righteous busybody. And oh man, wow, that stung. Specifically, my platform on decency was an anti-pornography campaign in the local school districts. I was promoting WRAP Week, which is White Ribbon Against Pornography. And also I was speaking to youth groups and groups of women, helping to educate about addiction, pornography addiction, and encouraging people to help those who struggled with pornography to overcome it, and how to be a strong support person and to help them. And I was talking about decency in general and society, and how to promote good. And I was a little bit taken aback by being called a self-righteous busybody. I was not accustomed to people placing their labels on me, especially a negative one. And I remember it took me a little bit to recover from that, and I worried that, oh man, I'm just getting started in this year-long path. I wonder if other people are going to be mean to me or publicly say unkind things about me. How I was able to receive with joy that first punch in the face was, I thought about that label, self-righteous busybody. Holy cow, who would call me that? And then I realized, well, wait a minute. I do try to be righteous at all times. I am a woman of faith, and I take my faith very seriously, and I try to always be that woman. So I don't know, maybe I am self-righteous. Didn't like that part so much, but and then I thought, busybody, that's such a negative connotation for somebody who is always engaged. And I thought, well, I am always trying to be busy, and maybe that's not such a bad thing. I am a woman of faith who is always trying my best to be engaged in good causes and doing good things. So maybe they're onto something. Maybe I am a self-righteous busybody. There you have it. They're just framing it in a negative light, but maybe that's me. So labels. Well, yesterday I started thinking about, and this weekend I started thinking about some other labels. I read a book about the ADHD advantage. ADHD or ADD runs in my family, and I was studying up on that, and for the first time in my adult life, I thought, I kind of check a lot of boxes on these symptoms. I wonder if I have ADD. I'm definitely not hyperactive, so I don't have that one. Hey, good morning, Tina. See some of my friends joining here. If you have questions, let me know. And so I've been wondering, do I have ADD? And that label's been placed upon others in my life, and it's been received as some as a positive and some as a negative. Usually based on the opinions of others and how others perceive that. If they see it as a plus, it's received as a badge of honor, and if they see it as a negative, then it's received as a negative for those people. And then yesterday on my Facebook feed, I put out a question about what do you see as the greatest challenge in motherhood? And there's so many good responses. One of the responses was feminism. And I asked that friend to share more what her thoughts about feminism and why she thinks that's the greatest challenge to motherhood. And she caused me to reflect and to study up on feminism a little bit. And I had to ask myself, is she calling me a feminist? I think she might be calling me a feminist. And then I had to think, well, is that a positive or a negative? Or does that even matter? So I spent the whole evening reflecting upon these labels and I wonder how people perceive me. And how do I perceive myself? Am I this? Am I that? Does it even matter? And this morning I wanted to share a quick story about this concept of labels and people putting positive or negative labels upon each other. And do they matter? How others label us or how we label ourselves. So are you ready for this? I'm a storyteller, especially with my children. This is one of my favorite books. This is one of the books that I read and reread to my children, and I have ever since I learned about it. I love this book. It's called You Are Special by Max Lucado. So I'm not going to read you the whole book, but I want to tell you the gist of it. Because stories are powerful for helping us to learn lessons. And I think that as I pondered this question about labels, self-esteem, self-identity, self-perception, how you see yourself and how you hope that the world sees you, I think this story nails it. So it's about the city of Wemix. They're a group of wooden people, and they were all made by their creator, Eli, up here on the hill. He was a wood carver who made these Wemix. And there's the main character in this story is Punchinello. I love that his name is Punchinello. Punch. He's the one who gets all of the punches by the other citizens in this Wemmickville. They're called Wemmicks. And so there's two ways that the Wemmicks really focus on treating each other. They give each other labels or stickers. They've got a box of gray dots and a box of yellow stars. And if you're one of those Wemmicks who does things that they don't approve of or don't like, or if you try things, or if your wood is chipped, or if you're a wider Wemmick instead of a tall, skinny Wemmick, they give you gray dots. And Punchinello is just covered in gray dots. And the more he tries to get yellow stars, he fails and gets more scratches and gets made fun of. He just keeps getting more and more gray dots. And so ultimately he just decides, I don't even want to leave my house. I don't even want to try. I'm just going to get more gray dots. Okay, now I'm getting emotional because shoot, and when I cry, I can't stop crying, so we might have to cut this video short. It's because this message is also such a good one to share with our children, because our children in society, in the neighborhood, in the church groups, they experience the same thing of, good heavens, so sorry, those of you who have to endure my squeaky voice. They get these labels too. So, maybe share this story with your kiddos once again. If they're getting lots. Oh, goodness. I have a crying epidemic. Maybe that's one of my labels. I'm a crier. Children are often so good at putting gray dots and yellow stars on each other. So, what does Punchinello do? He just keeps getting covered and covered and covered in gray dots. Well, the people in the city who get all of the yellow stars, that's for, let's see, what do they get the yellow? Here's the yellow star picture. They're the talented ones. They're the ones who can do flips and tricks and all of the amazing things. And they have beautiful paint. And they're the most well-carved. Well, then, so best part of the book is when Punchinello meets Lucia. This is Lucia. And the interesting thing about Lucia is she has neither gray dots nor yellow stars. And Punchinello thinks, how is it that the stars don't stick to her? And he says, why don't the stars stick to you? Because he assumed she would be covered in stars. And she says, well, people give me gray dots and yellow stars all the time. They just don't stick because I don't let them. And he says, well, how do you not let the stars or the dots stick to you? And she gives him the secret to her success is she points up here to Eli on the hill. And she says, I don't want anyone's marks, positive or negative. And she tells Punchinello that the secret to her success is she goes to visit Eli every single day. And that, man, see, once I start crying, I just can't stop. It's the worst. It's the curse. It's the curse of the tears. She says, I go to Eli every day. Because his opinion is the only one that matters. And Punchinello, he decides to try it out. He goes and he meets with Eli. There he is going to the wood carver. He meets with Eli. And Eli tells him the same thing. Just keep coming back, visiting me. And, oh, good heavens. And the stars, poor Punchinello, he doesn't have any stars. He says the dots will start to fall off. And he tells him, the takeaway is you've got to care more about the opinions of your maker, your higher power, than the opinions and labels of everyone else. Okay, there you have it, friends. There's the main takeaway. So I've just been thinking about that all day yesterday, and I'm going to cut this Facebook Live short because seriously, I have this curse of the tears.